Hello everybody. I am out here in my garden today. It's a gorgeous day and I'm trying to clean out some containers. My husband sowed some milkweeds back in spring, summer, and the pots just got over weedy, and I'm kind of trying to pull the weeds out right now and see if what's still there. And I'll show you some pots along the way. There's a whole bunch of different species and we'll go from there. I just thought I would sit here, do that, and have a chat. Like I said, it's a gorgeous day. I think hopefully we're done with freezes for the year, but we're gonna find out for sure. It's February 20th, Monday. It's a gorgeous day. All right, so move those. I did a couple of them yesterday. Did not get a chance to do all of the pots, but I planted out my tomatoes yesterday. They are out in the ground, so that has been good to have that done and start thinking about spring crops and spring wildflowers and all of that. And I'm curious to see what of these milkweeds actually come back, if any. Milkweeds are kind of hard to grow. If you've been around gardening and trying to plant for wildlife and monarchs and all of that, you'll hear people say, I can't find any milkweed, and that is because it is kind of hard to grow. There's some species that are easier than others, and that's why so many people default to tropical milkweed. And probably going to talk about tropical milkweed soon, both here on YouTube and on my podcast, the Garden Path Podcast. If you are new to watching this channel and you're like, you have a podcast, I do. The Garden Path Podcast, which is the name of this channel. And I'm not going into too much detail because, like I said, I'm going to have a different post or episode or video on it later. Tropical milkweed is extremely popular because it's really easy to propagate, and so you can take cuttings of it, you can root it. It's just super simple. But there's a lot more information coming out how problematic it actually is. So we've been trying to work on getting native milkweeds established. There's also even a movement of just like, don't plant milkweed, just leave the monarchs alone. Which again, I will touch base on that a little bit too later. And I just realized I have there's one giant asparagus shoot coming up. I'll show a video of that at the end here, and a couple other ones coming up. So that's the asparagus are waking up. Ugh. Weeds. Most of this is just grass that has germinated. Well, we'll see what comes back here. This is basically what the pots are looking like right now. Like I said, these were my husband's, and he didn't. Ooh, I got a spider friend. You can see my spider friend there. Hello. I'll say it's taken me a long time to not freak out about spiders, but I think it's something people can teach themselves to adapt to and not be totally scared. Now, if that was a giant leg where we were, probably wouldn't be nearly as calm. But let's see, are you a weed or a milkweed root? I think you're a weed. Backtracking, like I said, this is going to be a very crazy vlog here, but my husband did all these last summer. He didn't really take care of the weeding situation, and then we kind of separate out our growing stuff. I didn't want to impede on his things, but he was mentioned to me yesterday that he was gonna that he was just gonna dump the pots out and start over. And I was like, no, I think some of these are alive and I want them if you don't want them. So I'm gonna weed through. There are a few milkweeds that are germinating, and I'm probably gonna transplant a couple of them today, just because it's good time if they're germinating, if not germinating. Well, yeah, germinating, or I should say some of these germinated last summer. They just went dormant. If they're coming back up, they need to get in the ground because they have a long taproot, and you want that taproot to get established before they get, stuck in your little 4-inch pot. And a lot of people grow milkweeds in these long containers. They're really long, like foot long maybe, so that taproot can get established. But those get kind of expensive, so you just gotta do what you can. And if you're trying to grow out a ton of milkweeds, it's not really unless you have the money to expand or you're in a nursery, it's kind of not exactly feasible. Gosh, and then there were like little sapling trees that had germinated. So I don't really know, again, how much is really gonna come back up, but I'm gonna give these pots another 2 months for things to really warm up, and then if nothing is germinating after that, I will ditch the pots. But so this right here, you can see this is that is an old milkweed plant. So I'm gonna, some of them didn't have any of that, but some do. So I will have to be careful with that. So I know the roots are probably still in there, and it's kind of pretty easy to tug right there. And that was supposed to be Asclepias longifolia. It looks like they were sown 2/26 of 22. So they, yeah, so here's another one right there. So those should come back up, I would assume, in the next month. People driving by, they're probably like, who is this person with their video? Yeah, so Asclepias longifolia. There's an Asclepias variegata in here that I really want. It is one of my favorite milkweeds. Red ring milkweed, and it grows here in Texas in like upland pine forest habitats, good well drainaged areas. It's just a beautiful, beautiful plant. I mean, and it's pretty widespread throughout the eastern United States. It's a cool plant. Gosh, this grass is ridiculous. And I'm trying not to pull up all the soil, but just see if I can get as much of the roots as I can without damaging too much of this. And then I hear a frog. Okay, I'm gonna pause for a minute because I've already talked to you guys for 7 minutes. Do some more stuff and I'll come back. I accidentally pulled all of this out, but I wanted to show you. So how I know that stem and stuff is still alive. So you can see that root and that stem is still doing it. And there's actually probably a little bit of a new growth forming right there. It's not really to focus, but you can see there's a little forming of a new growth right there. And the stem, this was last year's plant. This was the part that was just kind of at the soil surface, maybe right below it. So this is coming back. I think I might just go ahead and plant it in my bed over here now. And the others, like this one, will be coming back here shortly as well. So that's good. There will be some new growth on these plants. And I have one more set of pots I'm gonna weed and do a couple things, and that will be the end of my lunch break time. Okay, one more. Here's a Asclepias viridis. I thought this was variegata, so I was wrong on that. Viridis, and this is the old one. The new one's coming up really nicely. I think this is another old one. There must have been more plants than one in this one. I think I accidentally pulled this one out, thinking it was a tree or a weed. So I'm gonna repot it just to make sure it isn't, and see how it comes back, and we'll go from there. All right, so I got those planted, and I'm gonna do a few more pots before I call it a day. Where did that go? So how are you guys doing, gardeners? I am so thankful that it is so nice outside now. I do not like cold weather. I lived in Florida for about 8 years, and it really, that ruined me further for cold weather. And so coming back here to Houston area, I'm from Fort Worth originally, coming back here to, Houston you think is a little bit warmer, and it is, but it also is hot and cold. It's just really cold in the winter and dreary and gray, and I hate it. And I am not a dreary gray person. I would not live well in the Pacific Northwest or New England or anywhere like that. Give me sun, give me the tropics. Okay, this is just like falling apart. It's like all grass, all weeds. I'm gonna see if I can find a plant in here. I don't even think that plant is alive still. It's just soil and some old roots. So we're gonna call that one toast, which I think a lot of these plants are toast. I'm getting like soil all over my jeans, but that's just how that's gonna go. So this was I've been meaning to do these weekly chats for the last few weeks, but I haven't quite done every week. I've been adding in some reels or shorts or whatever YouTube calls them, because they're fun and kind of easy to do, and I can just take a video of something blooming or something changing in the yard. I enjoy doing that, but these longer ones, I gotta sit down and think, and eventually I like to do like nicer edited videos. I follow a few like historic, not reenactments, but folks who dress up in old clothes or so clothes, like Carolina Zabroska and Abby Cox and folks like that. And I really like their editing skills. I just don't have the time or the patience. Oh yeah, what do you know? Milkweed tuber right there. I'm gonna put that one back in to hopefully be okay. So I follow them. I really like what they do. I don't have the time for some of that, but maybe I'll start dedicating a little bit more time to that in the coming year. So with that, I'm going to sign off. And thanks for listening to this ramble. I'm going to do a few more of these pots, and I'm going to make some lunch and go back to work. And so you guys have a great day, great afternoon. Hope you get some gardening out there. If it's cold, hopefully you have just a few more months of cold and you can have this wonderful spring weather too. Because honestly, by the time you have spring weather, I'm going to have summer weather. So it's going to go fast. All right. Until next time, bye everybody.